The UK economy unexpectedly grew by 0.1% in November, said to have been helped by a boost from the Football World Cup. The Office for National Statistics has said that pubs and restaurants contributed to growth as people went out to watch the games. The GDP figures comes as a surprise as the economy had been widely expected to contract in November, with even the Governor of the Bank of England saying that we were heading for a 2-year recession. Now there is looming hope that the UK may avoid a recession entirely. However, the economy still appears to be weak. In the 3 months to November, it shrank by 0.3%. Chancellor Jeremy Hunt has responded to the latest figures, pledging to stick to the plan to halve inflation this year and to get the economy growing again. Economists are saying that the high interest rates put in place by the central banks are going to hurt this year. But what does this all mean in terms for people? Paul Dales, chief UK economist for Capital Economics, says people will feel the pain of rising interest rates and continued high inflation. He says people are going to increasingly pay more for their food. Paul also says people are going to be paying more for borrowing money, such as mortgage debt. The next 12 months are going to be tough. British tech companies have definitely noticed the slowing down of the economy. Demand has begun to decline post-pandemic, where people are spending less money on making their homes and gardens look nice. People are worried about the basic cost of things, with the uprise in the costs of heating and fuel, and worries that inflation will just keep getting worse. Black Friday at the end of November was busy, but December was very slow. Will consumers keep spending? The recent rise in spending are a little like the efforts of Wales and England in the Men's Football World Cup. Some short-term excitement, but quite a few questions still emerge. The economy was boosted by some spending during the tournament. Some retailers have also been reporting higher than expected spending by shoppers ahead of Christmas, but analysts are clear that living standards are under serious pressure. Many people will be worried about their festive credit card bills. Domestic energy bills will almost certainly rise in April, even though they may fall after that. Businesses are cautious and may hold back on investment, meaning less job creation, and they are also likely to resist some pay demands that they feel adds to the overall pressure. Although the UK as a whole may have avoided recession for now, official figures suggest it's already arrived in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland's statistics agency, NISRA, produces local output figures which suggest economic output shrank by 0.3% in both the second and third quarters of 2022. 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth is a technical definition of recession. NISRA said the fall in output in the third quarter reflected a weak performance in construction and services. Some relief ahead for energy bills. With many households struggling with hefty gas and electricity bills, there may be some better news on the way for energy prices according to the latest forecasts. New projections suggest that energy bills could fall further than previously forecasted later this year as a result of falling wholesale gas prices. As things stand, a typical household gas and electricity bill is expected to rise from £2,500 a year to £3,000 a year in April as the government cuts back on the level of help it is giving out. However, finance firm Investec predicts that falling energy and gas prices mean typical annual bills could fall below this from July to £2,478. Energy consultancy Cornwall Insight has suggested that bills will settle at around £2,800 a year in the summer. The Times reports that Deutsche Bank has estimated that if bills do fall below £3,000 a year, it could save the government about £10 billion as it won't have to spend as much on subsidising energy costs. However, the UK is still likely to fall into recession in 2023 according to the Resolution Foundation. The UK economy beat expectations and grew by 0.1% in November, meaning that it was less likely that the nation was in a recession at the end of 2022. The Resolution Foundation still forecasts the UK's economy to contract through much of 2023, so a recession could still be imminent. Looking at GDP alone, it's currently 6.4% below pre-pandemic trends, and it is more than 20% below the pre-financial crisis trend. What is going on around the world? Things aren't looking great for the worldwide economy either. Earlier this week, the World Bank predicted the global economy is perilously close to falling into recession. The World Bank, which lends money to low and middle income countries, expects the world economy to grow by just 1.7% this year, a sharp decrease from the 3% it predicted back in June. Reports by the World Bank blames a number of factors stemming from Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the impact of the pandemic. They say that the downturn would be broad-based and growth in people's earning in almost every part of the world was likely to be slower than it was during the decade before COVID-19. The 1.7% growth figure would be the third lowest since 1991, with only the recessions of 2009 and 2020, which were caused by the global financial crisis and the COVID pandemic, hitting global growth more severely. Don't forget the housing market effect. When considering the outlook for the UK economy, it is always worth considering what is happening in the housing market. Even though people do not move home often, it is something economic analysts watch closely. After all, when lots of homes are built, bought and sold, there is a big knock-on effect to other sectors such as retail. If you buy a new home, you may also want to furnish it with other items too. There is a widespread expectation of a slowdown in the housing market and falling house prices this year. Higher mortgage rates are part to blame for this. This week, house builders have reported caution amongst buyers, meaning that they are cautious too. Whatever the next quarter brings for us in terms of growth, one thing is for certain. Recession or not, the current economic health is looking weak. There will still be a period of hardship where the effects of high inflation will be felt by most of the population and high interest rates dampening the demand for extra spending.